Let's get right into this. Running an automotive YouTube channel requires a lot of effort and time for project cars, and that means ordering parts, figuring out what kind of cars you're building, all that kind of stuff. And that means I do a lot of searching for parts, new and used. A lot of the time when we're building our JDM vehicles or any of the Japanese stuff, or I guess even the German stuff, finding used parts is critical to the project because a lot of the stuff isn't available new. And when it is, sometimes it costs so much money. So this story starts off with me looking for a 99 spec OEM Mazda RX-7 wing. So what I did is I put out an ad on Kijiji. It's an online for sale and buy platform that's really popular in Canada. And within a couple hours, I got a hit on one and I was kind of surprised, which should have been the first flag. But here's the thing, when you want something so badly, sometimes you can put the blinders on. And I think that's what happens in a lot of these cases is when something comes up and you're like, oh, I need this part. I want it so badly. Oh, it's so cheap. It's such a value. You overlook a lot of the common signs of like, wait, is this a scam? You kind of step back from reality and focus on trying to get this part. And I think that's the critical part and the takeaway that you guys should have from this story. And what almost happened to me is that, you know, I wasn't looking at all of the facts and what was going on. So I posted this ad and I got this hit right away. I started talking to the guy, and with, you know, right away he said he was not local and that he was out in Saskatchewan. I said, well, send me some photos of the wing and put Speed Academy on a piece of paper and take a picture of it so I know this is legit. And sure enough, the guy sent a couple photos or a photo with Speed Academy written. I was like, oh wow, this is good. However, when I tried to look at the photo, it was really grainy, it was super small, but I realized that through Kijiji, the photos do get downsized, they do get cropped, so you sometimes you do get these images that are really poor quality. So at that point, I was like, okay, that's fine. Send me a photo of your ID next to the spoiler, which in turn, the guy ended up doing that again. And I was like, okay, well, when I zoom in, I can't see your ID. The photo is so crummy and bad, I can't see it. So send me a photo of your ID, which he complied and sent me the photo of the ID. So right then and there, I was like, this is actually looking to be pretty legit. I did ask him for a price numerous times and he didn't get back to me until finally I was like, what's your price? Let me know your price before we move any further. And he said $480. And I was like, wow, these wings are now going for like $1,500 plus. This seems very cheap, but I was like, you know what? They used to sell for around that amount back in the day. This guy is in Saskatchewan, which is like not a hot market. It's an area that a lot of people don't buy JDM parts. So I could see how maybe he wasn't connected to the, you know, actual pricing these days, and he bought it earlier on. So I thought, you know, if it's a good price, maybe let's, you know, whatever, I'll continue with it, which again should have been a warning. Usually if something is too good to be true price-wise, it usually is. I'd say like 95% of the time. So anyways, we kept chatting and I told him, hey, text me and, you know, send me a couple more photos. Because at this point I was like, okay, if this guy's a scammer or whatever, he's gonna, you know, not have a phone number that matches the area code for Saskatchewan. He took my number, texted me right away, and sure enough, the phone number matched the Saskatchewan area code. So again, okay, this is starting to seem legit. So I said, all right, we got ourselves a deal. Give me your PayPal. And that's when he came back and said, I don't have a PayPal account. And I was like, okay, here we go. I've seen this happen. What are we gonna do here? I told him to create a PayPal account. He's like, you know, he kind of ignored it and just said, oh, send me an EMT. I was like, no, I am not comfortable with that. I have zero protection in this situation. You know, EMT is not gonna work. And at that point, we kind of went like back and forth, and he continually suggested EMT. And I said, listen, how about I send somebody to pick it up? And he said, okay, you can, yeah, sure, send somebody to pick it up, but it has to be before Friday. I was like, that's kind of odd, but again, okay, that legitimizes it. So he is there, he does have the wing, he has a location. That's what's kind of running through my head. This doesn't seem like a scam. So far, he sent me a photo with the wing, with the name Speed Academy on a piece of paper. He sent me a picture ID, his phone number matches. So like all these things are pointing in the direction of like, this doesn't seem to be a scam. But then there are things that are pointing in the direction that, wait, this could be a scam. Doesn't have PayPal. The one thing I forgot to mention is his user account on Kijiji was a month old, which is another huge flag. If accounts are only a month old, they don't have any real listings or anything like that, then that usually means watch out, it could be a scam. So eventually what I told him is, I said, hey, send me a photo of your face with your ID. And I told him my accountant asked me for this. He recommended I not do this because this could be a scam. And that's when he got all uppity and started going off and telling me, I'm not comfortable with this. I sent you all my information. I've done what you've wanted me to do. Now you're trying to scam me. Like, what are you trying to pull here? And at that point, I was a little taken aback. I was like, whoa, he is kind of right, which again is somebody working, knows what they're doing. I thought, I am right, he's right. I have been asking for a lot of these things, like, to send your ID to a complete stranger is certainly a tall ask. And then now to send a photo of yourself with your ID seems sketchy. So I was like, okay, maybe I am pushing it a little bit too far. The weird thing is he said that, my brother was scammed like this when he had a picture of it, himself and his ID. And I thought, well, that's again, super weird. Like, what am I going to do? And I told him, what am I going to do with your ID? Like, I don't have your bank info. I don't have any like that. I'm not going to be able to scam you. So he was just like, that's not going to work. And again, so I said, all right, well, I'm going to try to get somebody to come pick this thing up. And as soon as I told him, okay, I have someone that's going to come for Saturday, he said, oh, that's not going to work. I'm not available then. Well, why don't you pay $300 right now and then $300 when you receive it, or $200 and then another $200 when you receive tracking, and then another $200 when you receive it. And at this point, again, I was starting to feel like something's wrong. Like my gut's telling me something's up. Like, if this was somebody that was willing to work with you, I think there would certainly be a situation of like more understanding. This is kind of got scam written all over it because of the idea that I'm just gonna send him money. And I told him, I'm like, listen, this leaves me zero protection. Like if I send you money, it's gone. If you send me a brick in the mail with a tracking number, and I pay you that other $200, like it's gone. And he wouldn't really reply to that. He would just, kind of ignore it and ignore the fact that I was asking, telling him these things. I talked to Dave, and Dave was like, well, if you think it's not a scam, go ahead and do it. Worst case, we're out $600. And I was like, you know what, you're right. Let me go home. I'll think about it, and likely I'll pull the trigger. And like, I was this close, guys, like this close to sending him some money. But then I started to think, I was like, okay, let's look at these photos again. So then I started looking at these pictures, and that's when I realized, guess what? The plug in this photo is not a North American outlet. And at that point I was like, oh my God. And the other thing that really got me was like, the wing was on this weird rug. I'm like, this rug does not look like it's from that somebody here locally would have. I don't know, it was just like a thing that came into my mind. Not saying that people wouldn't, but for me, it was also a warning flag. And sure enough, like that one little thing in the picture tipped me off that something was up here. And so I looked up outlets, and then I found that looks to be an outlet from the Asias. I don't know where exactly, but it has like a weird switch on the side. It's got the wrong prongs. And that's when like everything, it was like the aha moment for me. It triggered where I was like, oh my God, this is a scam. This is brilliant. So I sent Dave a message and said, yo, like, here's a photo of this guy, you know, with this guy's ID next to the wing. What do you think is wrong with it? Thinking he would point out the outlet. But he pointed out, he's like, the ID looks way too big to be, you know, for the size for the wing. And I was like, wow, you know what? I didn't even see that. And then I realized, I'm like, holy crap, this is photoshopped in here. And I'm like, this guy did an excellent job of like scaling this thing down, photoshopping it, getting it to look like it was in the picture. And then I looked at the Speed Academy text with a piece of paper in it, and that also looked like Photoshop. And the way it was written like it was written on a computer. It was not handwritten. So all of this stuff came to be, and that's how like I caught myself, and I was like, there's no way that, you know, I'm sending him this money. And thank goodness, because again, you know, I had this gut feeling that this was gonna screw me, but I was just so caught up. I was like, this is such a good deal on a wing. I need to get this wing. I'm so desperate to get this wing. Let me, you know, kind of like continue. And thank God, again, these things, these small little things I picked up on, and I didn't send him the money. But it just goes to show like the lengths that people are going to now. I still can't really figure out where this person is located, whether they are local here in Canada or they're somewhere overseas. Like the phone number thing has got me kind of like weirded out. Like, how does this person have a Saskatchewan area code phone number, and that he's trying to like pull this? And this poor guy, Chase, whose ID he sent me, like, I don't know if that's him that's actually running this scam, or, you know, it's a stolen ID or a photo. Like, I tried to look it up on the internet, but there was nothing out there with this guy Chase, obviously. So, man, it was quite a wake-up call for me. And I guess the reason for me to make this video was to kind of give you guys a heads up, and kind of as a PSA, a public service announcement, like, watch out for these types of scams. Like, these things, people are out there scamming all the time and getting huge amounts of money. I know Hoovy's Garage, there was, you know, he just sold off a ton of cars, and he had an email, and somebody added an S to the end of like his email. And then if people got it wrong, this guy right away was like, yep, I'll sell you the car. And he took like, I think he took $2,500 worth of deposits from people and scammed them. And like these things happen. And when you do that, you're out. You got nobody to go to. The law's not gonna, you know, go try to convict these people because they can't find them. They've got more important things to do. So really at that point, you're out of money. A lot of people are embarrassed by the factor when that kind of stuff happens, so they don't really talk about it. So I think it is a thing that isn't that much talked about because it is embarrassing. Let this be a warning to all of you. Watch out. The scams are brilliant. They are like sharp. People are doing a lot of crazy things to try to get money, but like, look at the warning signs. And the warning signs are, do not ever send money if it's not through a protected resource. The only way you do that is if you have people that can vouch for it. If you know people, even then, like my thing is like, use PayPal. I hate PayPal, but it's one of those things where, you know, at least you've got some protection out there for that. Do not ever wire money. Do not ever send electronic money transfers, because those ones you are screwed. Also look for things like, if the accounts are new, if the person doesn't want to send a photo of their face with like the product or something, you know, ask for those things, because those things can certainly, I think, help determine if this is a scam or not. So I'm gonna wrap it there, but actually what I'm gonna do is mention one last thing, and this has kind of been a problem for us lately for about 6 months, is people out there are trying to use Speed Academy's brand and try to get parts to them. So they have created fake accounts. This guy Cameron has been using the email cameron@speedacademy.contact. And those emails now are so easy to create, and he's been out trying to scam parts, emailing companies, which, you know, is such a dirty thing to do. it seems like he is local, so he has made some mistakes. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, watch out for those scammers because they are rampant and they are out there to take your money. So it is his real number because he is texting me here. Of course, he doesn't pick up his phone. So he says, "Who's this? Jake." Well, let's see what happens. Yeah.